and you say, well, what do you want? Oh, honey, I got everything. I don't need anything. Right. Like we just don't think about what is it that we actually want. And I'm not talking about need, want, dream. And so that takes some time to pull down the walls, to dispel some of the limiting beliefs, some of the lies that we've told ourselves, what other people have said, and to really understand that it's not being selfish, but self full. And when we're self full, our cup is not just full, but it's spilling over. And the overflow is what everyone else gets from us. And so we need to keep that cup more than full, but filling over.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jodi Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. What if I told you the life you wanted and the life you desired was right in front of you? Would you dare and grab it? Would you reach for it? Well, today's guest not only knows your dream life is waiting for you, she's going to share how you can find it and how you can start living it. Debbi Sluys is in the house today, and I couldn't be more over the top with this. She is the founder of Dare to Declare, a coach, trainer, and speaker who specializes in helping people expand their brain's potential to see what's possible for their future with vision boards. Debbi, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I get excited about all my episodes, but you know what people don't get to see is the conversations I have with my guests before we hit record. And we have a lot of synergy. I mean, you had me at Dare to Declare. And I'm vision boarding and just manifesting and the mindset around it all. So I knew right away I needed to have you on this podcast. I needed this audience to have the gift of hearing you speak about vision boarding. And you're going to share with everybody, you're going to start it off with the 3 Ds. We call them your 3 Ds. But before we do that, why don't you take a moment, share with the audience, like, how did vision boards come to be part of such a big part of who you are and now what you really share with the world?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because it wasn't just one source. And what I don't often tell this little piece of the puzzle, but it was interesting where I had been looking for something more. I felt that inner nudge, and I think a lot of women that I work with have that going into their 40s, looking up at 50 and thinking, what else? Is there something more? I feel that in terms of my why and my purpose, I'm meant for something bigger. And so I had that, but I was restless and I didn't know exactly what that looked like. So I just started to poke around in terms of opportunities. And so I had an opportunity that came my way. I didn't qualify for it. And what I was told at that time was I was too visionary. Now, that seems like something I know, confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't give away all the details, but that was what it was. And I remember stomping around my house because I was so grumpy about the fact that I hadn't gotten this opportunity that I really felt like was meant for me and I was meant for it. And I was stomping around and going, I'm too visionary. I'm too visionary. I am too visionary. And I had my moment, like, and as I said it, my whole tone changed. And then it says, I am too visionary. And I'm like, what does that mean? And what could be possible? So that was such a gift. And so sometimes it's not in the yes, it's in the no that you find the lesson, you find the opportunity. And that was a really, big door slammed in my face, but it was such a beautiful window to something that was just waiting for me. Like you said, sometimes we don't even know, we haven't even been made aware of what else there is. And so when I started to investigate what it is to be visionary. Who is visionary? I came across Jack Canfield. We were talking about that before this interview, and he's been such a big influence in my life. And I watched and consumed all of his YouTube videos. I signed up for one of his courses. I bought his book, The Success Principles, and just really dove in to the idea of vision and visionary. And then there was other sources as well. And that's kind of how that's part of the puzzle of how it all began.
You said so many amazing and important things, and, I have never heard you tell I didn't hear that story from you until just now, and I have to share with you because there's so many people in the audience who have heard me tell my story of how it is I came to be, what, a life coach and a founder of a Moms Who Dare community supporting empty nesters. I spent my life in ad sales and marketing. And Debbie, just like you, I found myself in this quiet space. Now, I didn't get the door shut on me, but I found myself ask a question: when my kids leave home, is what I'm doing enough? And I was like, oh, no. What I was doing was like, ew. And I had that same gut feeling that there was something different for me and something bigger than myself. So yes, so many women listening to this and listening to your story and have heard my story, they nod. Whenever I speak in front of an audience, I share that part of the story. And I say, have you ever felt like you were meant to do something else? Every head is, and if somebody goes over to YouTube now and watches the video part of this podcast, we're nodding like, yes. So it's powerful. And where you were told you're too visionary, I love how you flipped it around from a negative, what sounded like a negative, to a total positive. Because when you said it, my face was like, what? How can it be too visionary? And I love how you turned it around to an affirmation. And then you went with it. You allowed yourself to sit with it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that story because that's going to resonate in a big way with somebody out there. So thank you. All right. Well, we got to get into it because you have 3 Ds. I love them. Tell everybody what the 3 Ds are and then what you want to share around them.
Yeah. So the first is dream, the second is discover, and the last is declare. And if you think about, think, feel, act, or Jack Canfield's ask, believe, receive, it's sort of that 3-word rebellion, which is to get a movement going, to really get into your mission. And so the workshop that I offer called the Dreaming Vision Board Workshop, it's based around that framework: dream, discover, declare. So the first part is that you open yourself up to dreaming, and that takes a while. So actually, my big workshop takes about 6 hours. I just did it actually on the weekend in Georgia. It was amazing. I got to travel and work with women there. So I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we set the stage. So it's really about opening up the right brain, which is where the creativity lies, which is, that inner child who's playful, who responds to music and scent, where we as adult, or my kids say, I'm adulting, that adult brain is the left side, which is more around the analytical and reasoning. And, it needs to make sense and connect all the dots. So we want to get into the right brain. And so if we do it in person, I set the stage with the environment as well. If I can, I'll diffuse oils, I have music playing, and we have a number of exercises to support the clients to get into the dreaming state. One of the main ones being, what do you want? And it's simply that question: what do you want? And so many, your demographic is women like mine is, and that you ask them, what do their children want? They can probably tell you, like, they don't even need for December for the Christmas list. They probably already know what the list is for their kids, or their employer wants, their husband wants, their mother-in-law wants, whatever everybody else. And you say, well, what do you want? Oh, honey, I got everything. I don't need anything. Right? Like, we just don't think about what is it that we actually want. And I'm not talking about need, want, dream. And so that takes some time to pull down the walls, to dispel some of the limiting beliefs, some of the lies that we've told ourselves, what other people have said, and to really understand that it's not being selfish, but self-full. And when we're self-full, our cup is not just full, but it's spilling over. and the overflow is what everyone else gets from us. And so we need to keep that cup more than full, but filling over. So that's the first part is the dreaming. Do you want me to pause there?
I mean, it's like I love it's finally I get to hear it. So, like, I speak it, but I'm getting to hear it, and I hear it and you hear things differently when other people speak, and I am hearing things a little bit differently, but, the thing you hit home, and my demographic are mainly moms who have launched their children have left the nest or are getting ready, and not only would I say yes when you ask a mom or any woman really what she wants, say, "Oh, I have enough." But when you ask a mom that, sometimes they say, "I don't know. I haven't asked myself that question in 20 years." 20 years. So I love what you say. So yes, dreaming again. And it is a process to start dreaming again. Yeah, I love that. So you have to start dreaming or else, you can't really move forward. So okay, so we have dream.
So dream and we dig into some of the limiting beliefs, but as you know, as a coach, that can take years. And those paradigms are so powerful that they can really shape and quiet our desires. So it's just this is why you want somebody like Jody in your corner that once you've developed and understood what your vision is that then you're going to work it out because those paradigms, those limiting beliefs can keep coming back and sabotaging your wanting to dream. So the next is discover, and that's really digging in to okay, so we've got the idea, we've set the platform, we've created the stage, we created the space to dream. Now, what is it? Let's dig in. And so I'm a big proponent of paper. People will say, oh, but Deb, it's easier to do it digitally. Well, that's probably your first clue. If it's easy, then everyone would be doing it. And the other lie is, oh, nobody has magazines anymore, which again is phony baloney. So there's plenty of magazines. So those are all things that we make up the reasons why we want to just do it digitally. And if you think about it, it's like trying to control the outcome. So when you lean into the belief that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, that the images will be revealed, that's already allowing the law of attraction to work even before the board is completed. So it's discovering, getting into the magazines. And as you know, Jody, I've created my own magazine based on the thousands of clients I've worked with, which is really supporting the process. For one, I get to do it abroad like I did on the weekend in the United States and elsewhere, but it also supports my clients to be able to discover those images more quickly. But yeah, I never had anyone say to me, like, walk out with an empty board. The images have always appeared and it's just extraordinary. So that's the discovery phase. And then with a facilitator like Jody or myself, then you've really got someone who can stretch it, so that sometimes people even still will have to go back to what is it that you really want? And is that represented on your board? And then the last word is declare. And that really is the action piece. And you talked about the affirmation that I created around, I am visionary. So it's about declaring your board, your vision board as an affirmation. So most people, when they create a vision board, they think it's kind of a one and done. Like, okay, I spent the day or a morning creating my vision board, and they kind of put it away as though it was just like a craft project. But what it actually is, it's a hard working tool, and you get to use it every day. I liken it to a new puppy. I'm like, you wouldn't get a puppy and not walk it and feed it and pet it and pay attention to it every day. More than that, think about your vision board like it's a new puppy. It needs your attention. So I teach my clients how to use it, but we first start off at the end of the workshop by having them declare it. If we're in person, like I was on the weekend with a group, they declare it to their fellow participants. And there's so much power and empowering juice in that, where I have the participant declare it as though it's already occurred. So thinking about it as though it's just photos on your phone that you're flipping through to say, this is my life, not this will be, I hope, I wish. No, this is. My power word this year is expectation. And so I encourage my participants to be in a state of expectancy. This is my beach home. This is my new partner. This is, my job where I go and I speak or I travel in my private jet, whatever it is. And I have 7 areas that I support. That's back to the discovery thing, but to support my clients to create a framework around. And so the declaring is also, like you said, creating an affirmation based on goals. We talk about goals. So there is a difference between vision and goals. But yeah, so that's really the three pieces: dream, discover, declare.
I love that. I love that. I love how you have them, and similarly, I do the same thing. I just was fortunate enough to host a vision board workshop in person, and like you, I love the cut and paste. I love the paper, and I have people saying, "Well, let's do it virtually, and can we use Canva?" I'm like, "You can do whatever you want, but when we get together, we're gonna do cut and paste." There's something about that. I do find that the majority of women who show up enjoy it. They do enjoy it. And yes, Debbie, you're right. The story you could tell yourself if there are no magazines. Go on Facebook Marketplace and post in your neighborhood asking for magazines, and people will drive them to your home to get them out of their house. So I love that. I mean, you just said something very interesting because there is a way. Well, you also have a proven way to create a vision board that works, but you also just said something that goals and vision difference. I want to talk about that. Share what the difference is between a goal and a vision.
Sure. Most people create, I think, a goal board unknowingly. It's just the way that it's promoted, say on Pinterest or elsewhere, where it's like, what do you want in your life? Get a bunch of magazines and just paste it on a board. That's pretty much the instruction most people receive. And so most people get into the doing. And so if I think about a vision board, most people think about a vision board, and some people actually that are doing personal development are adverse to it because they're like, it's all about stuff. I'm not about stuff. I'm about, feelings and emotions. And so most people think about a vision board as, what do I want to have? What do I need to do to have that stuff? And then I'm going to be happy, right? It's like waiting for the weekend to be happy. And so at Dare to Declare, we flip it on its head. Who do I get to be? The being. And then what do I get to do, which are the goals to move that forward. And then the abundance will show up. So the being or the be is really your vision. And so that's why I encourage my participants to put a photo of themselves in a prominent place on the board, because and a photo of them in a happy time. That's another qualifier as well. I will say for moms, who are becoming empty nesters, think about this. Like, how many times are you in front of the camera by yourself? I bet you it's pretty rare. So, do your kids in a favor and start taking pictures of just you. But I do put that as homework, that people bring a picture of themselves solely as well in a happy time. And the vision that you put on the board is bigger than what you can just physically accomplish yourself, which is why this makes this process so scary, because people are like, "But that's not realistic." Again, there they go back into the left brain. That doesn't make sense. I don't know how that's going to happen. I'm like, now you're talking. If you know the how, that's actually a goal. A vision, you don't know the how, but you're going to put it out there and you're going to trust. And yes, that is so scary. So that qualifies as a vision. And then the goals come after, where you're going to drill down and take one vision or a couple visions at a time and create a pathway. I like to think of it like a road trip. Here in Ontario, anywhere we've got to go pretty much takes a while. And so, you're going to know about the destination. Maybe you've heard great people, great food. You're going to love it there, but you've never actually been there. Now come back to the present. So that's your vision. Come back to the present, get packed in your car. You're going to pack some snacks. You're going to pack a water bottle. You're going to maybe pack a emergency kit. And then you're going to stop along the way, which is like when you accomplish these goals, you're like, okay, 2 hours in. Here in Canada, we have Tim Hortons. So we grab a Timmy's, we get our coffee, and then we carry on. And before you know it, you're in your destination. And that's the way the vision typically manifests. I've had a few occasions where it's literally like do do do, like a big party, but most often it comes in like a whisper. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh my word, I'm living this beautiful life. Look at my vision board. This is what I was putting out there on my vision board. And now this is my life. And it's like this, all of a sudden, this knowing. And it's just such a beautiful feeling to know that your vision has manifested.
Yeah, the hardest part is that trusting. I just had this conversation with my daughter literally yesterday. She's 28. She lives in Washington, D.C. She lives with her boyfriend, and they want to own a house one day. They're going to look get married and they want to own a house. And all I hear her say, I'm throwing, is we'll never be able to afford a house here. We're never going to be able to afford a house. And I finally said, I know you don't like this, but please, I'm asking you, I'm inviting you just to hear me, receive. We don't have to talk about it. I said, I promise you, if you hold the vision that John and I are living in our dream home in the Washington, D.C. area and creating memories and loving it. Let go of the how. I said, let go of the how. Keep that positive vision in your mind. I said, I know you won't make a vision board. I'll make it for you. Um, that doesn't work. But anyway, but I said, if you could just hold on to the vision and because she's a very creative mind. I said, and let go of the how. I told her, I said, Elliot, I promise you, you're going to live in that house. You don't have to. I didn't know how I was going to be in this home. And I'll share the story with you separately, but I manifested my dream home in my dream neighborhood over 25 years ago. I had no idea how I was going to afford it. And it happened. And that's before I even knew what I was doing was visualization. So yes, trusting is a big part of visioning versus goal setting. I love how you said, so the goals sound like they're those, the vision is that big, larger than life dream. And the goals are the action steps and that you make for yourself to go after the vision, so to speak. I love that. Love that. Thank you for clarifying that because I think that there is I think we do. I think even I have fallen into the goals and vision and or thing, and it's not an and or, they're different. So thank you. I love that. And then in the declare part, it's very powerful that you have the women stand up and with each other in the group to declare their boards. But you also talk about that there is a process to create a vision board that works. So according the vision boards, according to Debbi Sluys, who is an expert in this, how do you create a vision board that works? What would be like the first step or two? Obviously, going to Debbi's website and working with Debbi to create your vision board will absolutely support you in dreaming, discovering, and declaring, and having a vision board that works for you and with the energy of the universe. But if you could have somebody walk away from just this with like one or two tips.
Sure. I'll give a couple. First off, if you've never done a vision board before, and by the way, sympathize and empathize with you with your daughter. It took my daughter, I'm like, do you know how much people charge or how much I charge people to do this? And I'm like wanting you to do this. And then, so they're like, oh, finally we'll come anyways. And they have manifested
Yeah.
like a baby, right? So my one daughter was not being able to have a baby and she did. And yeah, dream house, all of that. So they get it now, but they like to tease me about manifestation for sure. But I would say that to start, as I mentioned earlier about my power word. So I can talk about two things around words. I would say limit the number of words that are on your board because you want as a vision, images actually, we process them 60 times more quickly than words. So you want the whole point of your vision board is to promote feelings and emotion. Because when we have a certain feeling, you know it. Like if it's negative, like my neck gets red, I can feel it in my head. I can like it literally comes over my whole body. Same thing, like you talked about that gut feeling. I call them like I get champagne bubbles in my body. It's like I'm like on fire. I'm just like, yeah, like when I'm excited, my body literally vibrates at a cellular level. Well, we want to invite those vibrations every single day into our life as we look on what it is that we want. So we want to optimize our vision board for feelings and emotion. And the way you do that best is with visuals, images. Words do have a place, but they shouldn't be the prominent factor and prominent real estate on your board. They're there to complement the images. So to go back to the power word, where I would say is for anyone that's watching or listening to simply start with a single word. And these are the qualifiers that it be positive, not disciplinary. Like sometimes people will be like, oh, I want to put this word, like even the word focus sometimes can be really adverse to some people. Like if you are a child that or a person that struggles with ADHD, you've probably been told all your whole life, focus, 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 right? Like when an adult says, you get to focus, you'd be like, I hate that word. So, it could be whatever it means to you, but have a single word that is positive, that moves you into action. So that's the other thing. So you might want to choose a verb, something that is inspiring, but also feels safe, that it's kind of like, I liken it to that campfire sweater. You know that sweatshirt we all have in the back of our closet that we pull out when we go to a campfire and go fishing or boating or that. You want that kind of feeling that when you see the word, you're like, there's my word. So mine, I'll just for anybody watching, mine is expectation this year. And so that is when I dip below the line or when I'm feeling low, I go back to what is the version of me who is in expectation? What does she eat? How does she dress? How does she respond to the situation? So that would be a really great way to start visualization. And I've been doing that for many years. And then with your vision board to optimize the focus, as I was saying earlier, one of the other distinguishing factors that you can identify a Dare to Declare vision board compared to many others, it's not a collage. So if you go to vision boards on Pinterest or anywhere, you will typically see collage where images are overlapping one another for a couple of reasons. Again, I discourage that. One, to me, it feels like scarce an idea of scarcity, like where people are trying to put as much on the board as they possibly can. So you're going to have to make some decisions. And so I recommend a board about 30 by 20 by 30, and that you've got a large board and that you have larger images and that they represent what it is that you want. Going back, what is it that I want? And the size of those images as well represent you're declaring to the universe, this is what I want. And so having some space around each of the images, giving it sort of space to breathe, so to speak, is really allowing the individual focus on each of those images so that you can pull out the emotion and the feeling of a choice that you had around that. So let's just pull out your daughter's dream home in DC. So if she's got an image of a two-story home with a little garden, a driveway, a garage, and she's got that, not just looking at the house as real estate, but actually picturing herself and her hubby or her partner in there, her boyfriend in there, having friends over, having a barbecue, cuddling on the couch, like just that, doesn't that feel amazing? So you're going to focus and the best time to do it is at night, every day on that vision board. And that's going to really giving that space for each of those images will allow your eye to have a place to rest and to optimize that focus.
Oh, you get a lot of good stuff. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Love it. So, everybody listening, you all now you know the 3 Ds, dream, discover, and declare. And I never really and that was the first time I heard you explain declare, and I love it. You know how to create a vision board that works from Debbie's best tips. She gave you some really good tips with leaving some white space around it. The sizes of your images words should complement it. I love how you keep going back to tapping into how it's going to feel and really see it. Like see yourself in that home. See yourself sitting on I see myself sitting on the balcony with my coffee staring at the ocean. I see it all the time. And I have my brand new vision board over there that I have all printed out and put up there. Um, and then I really did love the definition and the difference between goals and vision. So I hope, go back and listen to this over and over again because there was a lot shared here. And Debbie's also giving you, in addition to all her tips and her wisdom, she's giving you a resource. You're giving everybody a fun quiz, right? You want to tell them about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love quizzes. I always like to learn more about myself and to say, oh, I'm doing really well here, or this is my challenge. So it's based on the 3 Ds. So, how large do you dream? How well do you discover? How clearly do you declare? So the quiz is based in those 3 areas and it will give you a score. And as well, it gives you some explanation around those 3 areas. And then depending on your score, you'll receive emails, subsequent emails after that with videos with me giving you some tips on how to support you in the area that you're challenged. And so that will give you some additional support around those areas so that you can live your very best life.
Oh, you but the link is below. Grab the resource because I mean to get to then have it followed up, not only have your score, and I love quizzes too. I love seeing what I'm doing. Like I like, oh yeah, I scored really high on my happiness quiz today. Or but it also does help you realize, okay, I can actually raise this. And it's like a challenge to me. Like so, and to get a video tips and tools and strategies from you. That's amazing. So yeah, the link is below in the show notes. And then of course, Debbie, we don't leave. We don't let our guests leave here without leaving a dare because the daring for me in my world of daring is all about what you said. It's to ignite that right side of the brain. Daring is my fun word that I got from my mentor to step out, try new things, to get out of your head and drop into the fun and the heart and the feeling in your body. So, what is your dare for our audience to embark on should they choose to accept it?
So, what is my dare for the audience?
Audience, what you're going to dare the audience to do besides daring them to take the quiz, which they're going to do.
Okay. Well, what I would dare your audience to do is invest in your mind, invest in yourself. So we talk a lot about self-care, but I would say like invest in Jodi's programs, invest in, a coaching program, really investing in your mind more than what feels comfortable because you're getting this free content right now. This is great. So, but if this is resonating with you and you're feeling the nudge, and as we started off the program saying, I feel like I'm meant for something more. Well, here's the deal. If you want the $1 million life, you're not going to get it for free. Nothing is for free. So there's needs to be some exchange. And that exchange then will actually nudge the universe. It starts to, it's like a cause and effect. Those are the laws. It's like the law of reciprocity. You give, you receive. So when you exchange and give and sacrifice something, you're going to leave space for something else to grow. Not just receive back the same. In fact, you're going to receive more. And those are just the universal laws. So I dare you to invest in your mind.
Invest. So your dare is to invest in you and in your mind. And I will add, if you're struggling with, okay, I understand what that means, Debbie and Jodi, but where do I begin? Start with dreaming, discovering and declaring, and then ask yourself, okay, if this is my dream, where do I get to invest in that for myself? Is it in doing a vision board workshop with Debbie? Is it in taking a class? So yes, I love that dare. That's a very powerful dare. And I would, so dare to take the quiz, dare to invest in yourself. If you're unsure, then dare to dream and then ask a question. Where might I invest in myself that will support in manifesting this dream? There we go. Thank you, Debbie. I so appreciate this. Was great. This was awesome. I love the whole manifesting and vision boarding. It works. Open yourself up to possibility, everybody. And listen, if something landed with you, which I'm sure so much landed with you in this episode, let us know. Leave a comment, leave a review, reach out to Debbie and or me on social media. Everything you need is below in the show notes to connect with us. We want to know what landed with you. Declare what landed with you and let us know. And yeah, and as always, don't forget to tune in next Thursday for a brand new episode of Beyond Empty Nest. Until then, dare on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. Head over to jodisilverman.com for full show notes, more information, and additional resources. Speaking of additional resources, I've got a great one for you in the show notes below. So if you've enjoyed today's show and are ready to embrace this midlife chapter, then you're going to want to grab our featured resource called the Self-Talk Cleanup Challenge. You may not think so, but to quote our friend Oprah, the one thing I know for sure is that negative self-talk and thoughts are what's keeping you stuck in fear and lacking confidence to take the leaps in midlife that you desire to take. When you grab this resource, you'll receive the exact exercise my first coach took me through. It's simple yet powerful. In addition, I'll send you a few other tools and tricks to help you knock out the negativity when it shows up, thereby increasing your confidence and your overall happiness, allowing you to have fulfillment and fun in midlife. You deserve it. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Self-Talk Cleanup Challenge, and I'll see you next Thursday. Until then, they're on.